Two of these cars are running two drivers as well, notably Ryan Hopkins Mike Dowd with Rob Salisbury in the race team, Colin Elton, the 1515 Mark Fun. But there's an awful lot of horsepower out there, which is going to be unleashed back into our site very, very soon. In fact, they come round Coram right now down into Murray. And the cars across the line now. Interesting to see the number 112 Porsche across the line. That's in Zelbridge. Sorry, Zelbridge at all. But that car in the Rumos livery, being one of the prime exponents of Porsche racing, a Florida-based dealership. The changes to your program that we have are that car 130 is an addition, Peter Fisk, and he's in a Ferrari 328 GTB. That's the blue car that we see, and then Matthew Becker and Andrew Palmer are in a GT4. That's car 112. We've got some changes of class as well. So the car number 1 was in class F. So car number 1, which is Edward Lee, and that's now in GT4 Invitational. So that says to me there have been some changes to that car, which means that we still get to see it, but it's probably fitting into a particular class. Class 6, Jeremy Cook is going to be so was class F, now moved into an Invitational GT4 class, car 130 was in class C, now in class B, class 30, which isn't in my program anyway, but so we're going to see how it goes with car 112, which is fastest. Number 9. Let's go with Holliman, 94. So Becker and Palmer are out there. Fastest car on the circuit now, but they do have a relatively long qualifying session. It's a half an hour qualifying session, got 25 to run still. Third fastest is the number 12 Tim Bates Porsche 911, and then the number 24 Tom Black, a stalwart of Aston Martin racing in his blue and yellow and blue Aston Martin GT4. The cars now will be, they've had their 5 minutes out there, they've done all that they need to do, they've checked the systems, checked everything's working, and we would now expect to see some improvements in times. Best so far is a 2 minutes and 4 seconds. The 112 car considerably faster than anybody else. Currently 2 minutes 4 against 2 minutes 11, etc. further down the field. So we can stay that way, but nonetheless, the 112 car very much on the top of the table. We currently have 19 cars out on track. Oh, I was going to say actually, 19 cars. Challenge, but the Intermarques was at once absolutely
passenger grid at one time, wasn't it? Some 10, 15, 20 years ago. I know that's quite a while. But it's nice to sit with so many cars in park again. And just the right stop on the back end. GT4 racing cars as well.
Yeah, it's celebration.
I know you're all of us. Let you have your moment. We have the soapbox in there. It's a holiday place. We have an addition to that program for Bentley. It's called a two-seater open Bentley, and the engine capacity is 8 litres from 1936. And that's like that car that makes just down the steering bed like a Leviathan of a car.
Oh, that's a good word. Word of the day, Leviathan.
First one.
Take that one off for this now.
But it's Matt Becker and Andy Palmer at the front there. Andy Palmer, of course, CEO of Aston Martin Group. And Matt Becker is slightly involved on the development side, so we say. So you could say they've got a bit of inside knowledge here, these guys, as in they work at Aston Martin in fairly senior roles, to say the very least. It's quite a good tie-up of your development engineer and your CEO of Aston Martin coming out, showcasing a product and putting it at provisional pole.
Yeah, it's
one of them.
Yeah, I think that's it all, and they are still 3.5 seconds faster than anybody else out there in the field. So probably that's to your theory, knowing that they could well be. But we're looking at some.
There is the alternative here, of course, that pressure to those two. What would be fair? So you say it has the reverse pressure, doesn't it, as well? They should be there as well.
Yeah, they should, but nonetheless, it's good stuff, and isn't it great to see the senior management of a major car manufacturer actually out enjoying it. We've seen that a lot over the years now. Particularly that we've seen people out there in senior management positions just going out and doing the stuff, which is quite fantastic.
Driving it well and putting it in the front, showcasing it. What better way of advertising your product and your belief in that product?
But I think it's more than that, because there is that bit of that they're just doing it because they enjoy it. I mean, they're not doing it to show off the product. Perhaps they're doing it because they enjoy it. And they enjoy the product. And I think that's just so refreshing in these days where perhaps we have the cold-eyed management in many businesses, not least of which the car industry, and that's kind of how it is, and it's just nice to see it. And, the death of Ferdinand Piech, who was the man behind virtually single-handedly rebuilt the Volkswagen, or rebuilt Volkswagen into Volkswagen Audi, and then into everything that meant. And he was an enthusiast through and through. And all right, he never was a driver, but when you've got somebody who was running the biggest car manufacturer in the world, and you look back at the TV, and he's the guy who created the Porsche 917. That's good enough for me.
I was just going to say, just stop and just digest that for a minute. The fact what was the iconic motor car in the world? The Porsche what a beast in its time. Scary as anything.
Yeah. It was. So the story goes. I spoke to him. We did an interview with Vic Elford, post he said that he hit on his nose pretty much. That everybody at Porsche said no, we can't do it because it was manufacturing bending the rules. That the rule was, and the rule was created for the Lola T70, of which there were a lot about at the time, and that they said, okay, providing you built 25 cars, you can run to a 5-litre maximum, and that was absolutely for the Lola T70, because there were already 25 cars out there with the Scott Block Chevy V8 in them, and then along comes PX and says, there's a loophole here which says if you build 25 cars, you don't have to stick to the 3-litre prototype limit. So he built 25 cars, and as everybody knows, didn't play with the figures the way that certain Italian manufacturers might have done, and certain British manufacturers might have done. But nonetheless, what he did was he built 25 cars and lined them up at the factory, and we've all seen the photo of 25 Porsche 917s.
Isn't that the one, the famous story where the journalists were invited to come and see these so-called 25 cars, expecting there not to be 25 cars, which there were, but then there was where you could open the door and there was all 25 and then they all worked.
Yeah, and so it was. Yeah, it's very fitting. I think that with somebody like that who just forced that through, that nobody at Porsche wanted that. Nobody at Porsche that they forced it through. They made it work, and that again, we see Andy Palmer out there in this car, somebody at the front of the company who absolutely loves motorsport and sees the value of it as something which can sell cars at the end of the day, and the Porsche 917 arguably the greatest car ever. But with its various different bits of history, it's not impossible. But it's Tom Black now who is at the front of this field.
Well, funny, I was saying that, I was just watching that in the background as you were waxing lyrical there about the Porsches. I was just watching what was going on the track behind us. 15 minutes of this session to go, so we're only halfway through this session. Becker and Palmer, it was at the front, the only ones that dip into the 204s, and Tom Black was watching the 725. Now that alerted straight away that something wasn't quite right, because Tom Black's not 1.7 seconds off the pace. So I've been watching that, and all of a sudden he's jumped, not to be 1.7 seconds off the pace, but 0.1 ahead on provisional pole, dipping into a 203.994. So the first man to dip under 204. Now Tom is very experienced in one of these cars. He's got a GT3 version here as well, which is down in the Stratton Motor Company display at the end there. We've got a Nimrod as well, or a Bovis Nimrod, one of the later cars down there. Some interesting cars down there to go and have a look at. Far end of the paddock, to the far end of the pit lane down by Russell. As number 9, Rob Holliman just comes into the pit. Looks like he's ending his qualifying session with 15 odd minutes to go.
Well, sorry to interrupt you there, Peter, but Black talking now with 2.8.
He's waxing in a second off it just like that. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Stuart Hall would be proud of him.
You would.
Why making him do that in the first place? It's not out of the realms of possibility.
That's true. But there's one of your jobs when you get down into the pit lane is to see who you can find. The number 71 car is currently in third place, David Tin in his GT4, and then Chris Kemp in the number 91 GT4. That's just changed because the number 1 Edward Lee BMW M3 M3 has just gone second fastest. So
that's invitation class then.
Yeah, he said this basically.
No, it doesn't count for the two different pits. The GT4s are basically Tom Black, Becker and Palmer, Tin, Kemp. We then got Edward Lee, who's a second overall fastest on track, but of course that doesn't count for trophies. And leading the Intermarques, which might explain why he's popped into the pits now and said enough's enough, is Rob Holliman, who's just dropped down to 7th overall in the combined session on track, but puts him on provisional pole position for the Intermarques. Rob's done a 2:08.7, and alongside him is done on 2:09.5. It's Gavin Dunn in his BMW E36.
But isn't it nice that, okay, we've seen the second fastest car there, the number 1 Italy's BMW M3 GT4. Yeah, it was entered in class 1. It clearly decided that for whatever reason it should be there, but still it's a race. Yes, okay, it's invitational, but he's still going to get a race, and we're going to get the joy of seeing that car as well. And that I think is great to see. But it's still Tom Black at the front of this field, with over a second faster than the BMW we just talked about, the number 1 car. And then the Becker and Palmer 112. A late entry doesn't appear in the program, but nonetheless, that's Becker and Palmer running in class 1, which is obviously the GT4 Challenge class. These cars very largely are standard, with the necessary bits to make them safe for racing. Highly developed racing cars, as are some of the other cars that you see out there in the Intermarques class. Notably the Marsh Plant DBS V8, which David Beattie and Kevin Wallstrop are out there in. That car is so a little way to go for there, but we have Black and Lee are currently fastest on the grid, provisional grid. Still 10 minutes left to run though, so anything could happen in those 10 minutes. The few people who are running these drivers will have been A, qualified, and B, done their best to make this work. Tom Black though will be very comfortable with his position, but it's getting chipped away now because the number 1 car of Edward Lee is now about half a second behind our provisional pole sitter Tom Black. So it's 2 minutes 2.8 against 2 minutes 3.4. Because we had an issue in the first qualifying session for the Equipe cars when there was some liquid, some fluid down after an off, or maybe that was what caused it, liquid down, which needed some repairs to be done, and so we're running about 15 minutes late on where we should be. But we know that our race officials will be working as hard as they can to make up that necessary time and to make sure that everybody gets exactly what they need in terms of qualifying and in terms of like as well. And counting down 8 minutes left to run. It's great to be up here in the commentary box right next to the start finish line, because cars are getting to peak strength as they go faster, and the different noises that we're hearing from all these cars to hear. Some cars relatively pedestrian, and some of them big, deep, throaty roars. So, would you have a favourite, Peter?
Well, it's got to have an Aston badge on it, hasn't it? I can't help that.
That's
It's one
just
of the
you.
best or the quickest, but it's got to have an Aston badge on it. it's in the genes, it's in the DNA.
Yeah.
DNA. I am very smitten by a car that's not particularly far up the order at the moment. A car driven by Peter and Aston, the ex-Jerry ridiculous. I mean, we remember in the 70s, don't we, things like, basically it looked like a DAF, but it had a V8 in it. Or it looked like a Beetle, it had a V8 in it. And it wasn't underneath, it was a grabbable March or something with a silhouette body on, which just basically drove a bus through the rules to make it look like a special saloon or something, as we call it.
Yeah, those super saloons, as they were known. It just has to have the same profile, and I think it's funny now looking back, because you're absolutely right. People were taking Chevron Lotus. Of course, they're all back to being sports cars now.
Absolutely.
Because they're worth 5 times more now.
It's the case with quite a few of the things like nobody runs most of the E-Types racing. Most of the GT40s racing at the Spa 6 Hour and stuff these days are not real GT40s in terms of period. They're real, correct. Cars or they're just not an original car anymore. They're very, very rare. Ironic. The reason they came lightweight race cars in the first place was because the values dropped so much they made a good donor car to turn into a race car.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
It is absolutely crazy, and I battle with this personally, and I've had conversations with many people over the years about the replica race cars, because we all know that the FIA say if it looks like a 1959 Cooper Climax Formula 1 car and is exactly the same as the 1959 Cooper Climax Formula 1 car, then it's a Cooper Climax Formula 1 car. And whether it was built in 2015 or whether it was built in 1959 doesn't make a jot of difference. Now, I'm afraid, to me as a purist, it does.
Paul, I can't disagree with you. I think you're absolutely right in terms of yes, if it's right, it's a replica, it's etc. I think the thing that we have to allow for is a very good phrase. We were privileged enough to grow up watching these cars when they weren't very old, sometimes 10 years old, Le Mans car, sports car, whatever, being raced, and they were historically valuable. Yes, they were slightly more expensive because they were a bit unique and they were race cars than the run-of-the-mill, let's say, a lightweight racing E-Type was a bit more than an ordinary. A friend of mine years ago, and I'm talking around about 1990s, let's call it nearly 30 years ago, yeah? Put it in perspective, he got a very smoky 928 Porsche there going into Ritchie's. That may not last much longer. Probably pulling off. Still got the same not quite new, about 18 months, 2 years old. they walk up to him and say, how much is it worth?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only got worse.
Yeah, you're right.
Give a long explanation, but that's the problem. It's only got worse. I mean, a car off the track, go build a replica or whatever it may be, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to have any metal fatigue. It's going to be effectively a new car. It's going to handle better than the original one. It's always going to be the case. You go and put a hotshot touring car driver in it at Goodwood, and it makes an E-Type look great. Is it an E-Type?
Yeah, well, as I say, if it looks like an E-Type, it smells like an E-Type, it is.
It's probably a fish.
Just to go off the tangent for a moment, we have a qualifying session out, and it's now the number 91 car, Chris Camp, who's got fastest, half a second faster than Tom Black, and then we have the number 51. Robin Marriott's GT4.
I was going to say, actually, Chris Kemp and Tom Black are good mates. Maybe not now. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they can rise above that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they've been here before. Plenty of time. But, yeah, so this session just hotting up a bit as we go into the last couple of minutes of this session. Chris Kemp from Tom Black, 51 from the number 1 Edward Lee BMW M3, the first non-Aston Martin, and then we're back to the Matt Becker and the Palmer car in 5th place, and then the number 71 car, which is again a GT4, which is in 6th. Crossing the line now, the Tom Black car, which that lap is a 2 minutes 4, almost exactly, which is a second and a bit off his fastest pace. Less than a minute left to run now. With Chris Kemp is looking very strong currently for his pole position of these 19 cars on the grid. Currently it's 91 from 24, 112 from 71, and then 7th we have the number 9, Robert Hoyman, Porsche 964, and then we have the number 11, James Neal, Ryan Hooker, 964 after that. So we've got a bit of variety, but it certainly is an Aston Martin lockout at the front, with the first 3 positions, with the clock ticking down to 0. So we're going to expect the checkered flag will be out for the next car to cross the line. And in fact, most people have preempted that. The little gaggle of cars coming into pit lane. I mean, anybody can take the checkered flag straight. Here we have somebody doing it. That's going to be the 112 car. So Matt Becker and Andy Palmer do take the checkered flag, but they're going to be see Tom Black